We're continuing with Parshat Noach. We are on page 7 of the Noach section, Bereshit 6, Pasuk Yudaluk, 14. So, if you remember, at the end of the last pasuk, we talked about the destruction that the earth was going to have, and even sort of the nature of the way that the earth was part of what was going to be changed. So we continue with asay, make, which has a mahapach under it. Mahapach is something that begins a phrase. If you'll notice from its shape, and this is what your father comments on, is that it's something that collects from before and then funnels and focuses. So make, asay, although you are destined to survive under any circumstances, but you make an initiative by yourself with the observance of the laws of nature, your efforts will be efficient as indicated by the shape of the reading mark. So what he's telling Noach is, given that I'm going to destroy the entire earth, you, in and of yourself, you know that you're going to survive. Noach has already proven himself to be somebody who's got favor in God's eye, and he is going to take the laws of nature that exist at that point, and he is going to focus them into the efforts that he is going to proceed with from here on in, so that we get him taking what was before and turning it into what is the little bit that is going to remain. Lecha, for yourself. This has a pashta. And notice a pashta is a note that's on top of the word. It highlights the word slightly and is always in the middle of a phrase. It's always something that is going to continue, or at the beginning or middle of a phrase, something that's going to continue on to something else. What you will do for yourself will be for your benefit and enjoyment, as denoted by the directional shape of the mark. So what he's noting here is that, again, pashta is something that's going to lead into other things, and it emphasizes the word that the fact of what Noach is going to do is going to be for himself, for what he's going to do for himself. And he says, compare from Rashi in Lech Lecha, where we have that same phrase, Lecha, for yourself. What does that mean? And he interprets it there in Abraham's case, in Lech Lecha, Lahana'atcha u'letovatcha, for your pleasure and for your ultimate good. So he is bringing that same sense here, but there is a different note on this lecha. This is a pashta, and a lech lecha is a tavir. That's going to focus it into Abraham. If you remember, we said the tavir was that's something where you've got a center that's being protected by something. So that's what Abraham is going to get. He's going to get that lecha that's sheltered. Noach is going to get the lecha that focuses, that emphasizes the word a little bit. It's for himself. It really is more for Noach's own sense of pleasure and benefit, rather than his posterity, which is what Abraham is going to get. So we see the contrasting the word lecha, written to two people, meaning the same thing, but yet focusing it differently because it's got a different note on it.
Interesting.
Tevat, a box of. Number 3, it shall be a box of a suitable size with appropriate specifications for its purpose, as stressed by the shape of the related reading mark. So again, this is a zakev katon. So this is a munach, which forms the first part of a zakev katon. This is something, if you'll remember, that has a sharp, solid line which demarcates it from the things before, and then continues on into what the new thing that's going to be after. So it's saying that it's going to have the right size for its purpose. It's going to be an exact measure, and exclude things of sizes that are not appropriate. And again, you've got that sharply delimiting it from the things before. He doesn't mention this, but the teva separates itself out from Noach's pleasure. It seems to be something that's separated out from his pleasure by the shape of the note as well.
Sure, it's no fun building a boat that size by yourself while facing 20 years of derision.
Atzei gofer, woods of cedar. As a material of construction, you should apply woods of cedar because they are long, straight, and resist rotting, as it used to be to build a temple, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So the katon is two dots that are on top of each other, on top of the word gofer, and Dr. Seaman always emphasizes the fact that when we see this note, it is going to be something that is going to have some double functionality, or something that points out that there's more than one possibility here. So he's saying that because this is the same wood that's used later on in the temple, that's why we've got this katon, this two-part mark that's sitting on top of Atzei gofer. Kinim tipcha. So we'll notice the note under this one goes back, collects from things that are before, and gently leads into what's going after, but has the most minor of pauses after it. Kinim, nests or compartments. And number 5, the construction shall provide adequate, comfortable nests for current needs, separated by individual compartments, as much as the wood will permit, as referred backwards by the directional shape of the reading mark. So he's saying that because it's a tipcha, because it's looking back, it has to in some way connect to Atzei gofer. It has to some way connect to the fact that it's being made out of wood. So he's noting that the shape of the compartments is going to be limited by the properties of the wood. And that's what the tipcha tells us. That ideally the compartments might even be different in shape, but because you're using Atzei gofer, you have to work within the limitation of that. Ta'aseh, munach. So again, remember this note has that sharp line that separates it from things that are before it, and then continues on from there. You shall make ta'aseh. Number 6, you shall make those booths stable and durable so that no structural mishap will occur at a critical time, as shown by the shape of the reading mark. So once you have made something, it's going to stand and stay, and you can go on from there. Again, that's what the shape of the note is telling us, that once you've made something, it's stable, and you go on from there to the next thing. So don't forget, limited construction crew. So if things tend to break or whatever, you really don't have anybody to help you with the construction. So this instruction, ta'aseh, is going to tell you that you're going to make it in such a way that you won't have parts that will collapse and have multiple things that need to be fixed afterwards. Once you've set something in place, it's set in place. Et hateva, with the box. Number 7, you shall incorporate specific details with the box to make it unified in texture, to secure firmness and reliability of the complete structure, as suggested by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. This is an et nachta. If you remember, et nachta gives us that first half of the sentence. It gives us the concept of something being stable and possibly something going on up from there because of the stable base of the et nachta. So again, you're going to take the specific details from ta'aseh, and you're going to make something that is secure and reliable and unified. All we see this from the fact that it's got an et nachta underneath the word teva.
Sorry, can I ask about the mark that's under aseh and the mark that's under ta'aseh? So we had mentioned that mark under aseh brings
gathers
everything
from
before
before.
it and funnels it to a
Right.
point. And is that because that's intention and it requires understanding and so forth from before?
It's because he's taking this. Noach is going to take this natural disaster that is going to happen, and he is going to have to continue on with the task.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take this world that has become corrupted, and he's going to focus it into literally this one small space that he is going to construct to become a microcosm of the way that the world is going to continue afterwards. Whereas ta'aseh, the way that he's going to make the ark is going to be, so that now we're dealing more with the technical building of the ark, and the construction method is going to be such that once you establish an element, it should stay stable and you can move forward and move on to the next element.
No shortcuts. Everything is.
Thank you.
Which might be why it took 120 years.
Mm-hmm.
V'chafarta ota, so this is v'chafarta, and you shall cover. This is a mercha. You know, if you remember, mercha is a note that gently leads into what is going to come after it. Number 8, you shall render the box waterproof, and you shall cover the entire surface with a water repellent, which shall also seal the gaps between individual neighboring woods, as expressed by the directional shape of the reading mark. So the covering is going to go from wherever you are to where it needs to go, and the mercha is going to lead into wherever it's going to need to lead into. So that's what he's deriving from the mercha. This is a phrase with mercha. It's mercha tevir. Mercha comes in a couple of different phrases. Mercha tipcha munachet nachta, mercha tipcha mercha sof pasuk, and mercha tevir. So this is sort of one of the standard phrases that a mercha will come into. So we come to the next word, ota, with the tevir. Tevir, if you'll remember, has the dot in the center with the mercha on the outside of it. So it's showing something that is stable or sheltered within a shell of something that it's outside of it. Just as a matter of, I don't think we've come across a possessive yet, but if you'll notice the word ota, in the letter hey, there's a dot in the letter hey, and that dot is a possessive. It means it, meaning belonging to it, not just it. So that's what that dot inside of the hay means. And we will on occasion see a word that should have had one of those that doesn't, or a word that has one, and we need to understand why it's being possessive at that time. So again, it's something just to take note of, because we're going to be looking at them later on. Ota, it, number 9. It, so again, this is the tevir. It's something that is going to be sheltered within something else, and it is connected, or it's flowed into by that mercha that's before it, v'chafarta. It shall be properly protected to warrant its expectations without disappointments, because of unattended details, as confirmed by the shape of the reading mark. So it again is going to have this sheltered aspect, this aspect of fulfilling what it was supposed to do from what was coming before, and you shall cover. So the covering is going to be done properly, and it will lend the shelter that it's supposed to do, and it's going to be nice and safe without disappointments because of things that you forgot to do. You're going to do it, and the covering will be sufficient. Mibayit, this is another mercha. So this is one of the other phrases with mercha. Mercha tipcha sof pasuk. So again, a soft, gentle flowing into the next word, beginning of the phrase. The ota, the tevir before, has sort of a comma after it, so we've separated that out slightly. There's a little bit of a pause when you read it. From inside, number 10, preventive measures for leakage shall be started from inside in order to allow time for slower evaporation of the noxious vapors as specified by the directional shape of the reading mark. So here we've got a little bit of construction, a little bit of physics. If you waterproof the outside first, then everything that had a smell or whatever, vapors or volatiles, would stay on the inside. So you have to waterproof the inside first, allow the fumes to get out, and then waterproof the outside. Mibayit, from inside. This is saying from inside, it's going to go somewhere. So because of that mercha, because it's leading into something else, those things from the inside are going to have a chance to make their way to the outside because of the mercha.
Is there normally a pause after a mercha?
No, there's a pause after the previous word, after the tzvir.
Uh-huh.
But mercha leads specifically into the tipcha. The tipcha has the most minor of pauses after it, but it does have a pause. But the mercha tipcha is a combination that goes together. So mibayit, from the inside, umichutz, and from outside. Number 11, this is the tipcha, so this is going to close off and include what we had coming from the previous word. And after the inside is tested and found to be impermeable to seepage of water, a similar task shall be undertaken to secure tightness from within and from outside to have the task completed, as illustrated by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So not only are you going to do the outside, but you're going to do the outside after you've completed the inside, because you've got this tipcha that includes what happened before. You're including what was done to the inside in what you're doing to the outside. So he's adding an extra piece of information here. He's saying that because, why are we saying from the inside and from the outside? Because you're going to do the inside, you're going to test the inside, and then you're going to do the outside. And we see that from the mercha tipcha idea.
Interesting.
And so there are distinct stages.
So he's
But
saying
part
that
of the
we
same
derive
activity,
those distinct stages, and the fact that one is dependent on the other being complete before you even do it, from the fact that we've got this mercha tipcha.
That's very interesting.
Bakofer, so if you've ever been around tar smells really bad. So remember that we said always the first half of the sentence is going to be the more elevated half, and the second half is going to be the more mundane half. In the first elevated half, we've got the idea of building something out of nice smelling cedar wood, and then in the second half, we've got making it waterproof and safe out of foul smelling tar. So we take the higher element and the same wood that you use for Beis Hamikdash, and then we've got the lower element and its use here as well.
And also the higher element in the first part is the element of spirit, asay, that you have to do the initiative. And in the second, it's the tasks of physical tasks as opposed to the emotional and tasks of will, I think.
Number 12, ba kofer, by the pitch, which is an interesting way of translating this. Normally we would say with, using tar, using pitch, rather than by the pitch. And we'll see what he does with this. Number 12, additional protection from the outside shall be made by the pitch to prevent any mechanical damage of the wood, hence ba kofer instead of kofer, right? And you could certainly say, v'chavarta ota mibayit umichutz kofer. There would be tar, pitch, inside and outside. But he's saying ba kofer, by the pitch, so you have to so he's contrasting this with Vatimale haaretz chamas, and the land filled. So we had this previously. Why was the world being destroyed? Because the land was filled not ba Hamas, not with Hamas, but the land was filled Hamas. The land was filled with petty thievery. So this is the end of a sentence. This is closing off of a thought. So remember, the tipcha, the word before, has the most minor pauses after it. so it doesn't have to have a direct connection to this word, and this is going to stabilize and end the thought. So he's saying that you're going to do the protection from the outside by the pitch to protect the wood itself, rather than the pitch being the element that you're worried about. Whereas in the previous sense we were worried about the Hamas, we were worried about the pettiness because that was the main thought. Here the kofer, the tar is not the main thought. The main thought is the wood, so that's why you're saying by, with the pitch, rather than kofer, just saying the word in and of itself.
It deflects the focus.
We're on page 8. We're starting the next pasuk. Vizeh. I think this is the first Zakef Gadol that we've dealt with, so we're going to go back to the introduction. We are on page LXV.
Number 8. Yeah, LXV number 8. Right?
Number 8, Zakef Gadol. Zakef Gadol is note that is going to focus on a particular word. He calls it a king. Again, this is a word that emphasizes the word Zakef Gadol. So it obviously has a pause after it. It's making something important of the word. It is a king who systematically prepares his actions from the foundation and turns his full determination to his desired objective. And again, it's got the idea of a bipartite shape. It's got in fact three different elements to it. So is he commenting on bipartite shape later on? Is that why we're saying this? No. Yeah, no. So he just said before that things that are double marks are therefore even more emphasis. So this is again a word that's going to get strong emphasis and it's going to stand by itself. Vizeh, so we're back on page 8 in section of Noach, and this, number 1. When Noach was confused about the shape of the box with his specifications, he was shown a ready-made example of it, being shown a prototype of it and told, and this kind of shape and size you shall produce by yourself, as indicated by the shape of the reading mark. So vizeh is going to be what does this mean? That means Noach had literally a quote unquote visual blueprint. He had visions of the way that it was supposed to be. So if he ever got to a place where he didn't know what he was supposed to do, then seemingly he would get a visual image to play off of, and that's the meaning of this word, and this.
Ha! And you two thought they were the first with how-to videos.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a similar, your father brings up a similar concept that we will see later on with the construction of the tabernacle, of the Mishkan. Zeh was also applied to Moses in connection to the menorah and the month and the shekel. So V'zeh Maaseh HaMenorah Miksha Zahav, and this is the way that you're going to make the menorah. It's going to be all of these specific designs and so on made out of a single piece. And Rashi brings forth a midrash that says Moshe didn't know how to possibly make this out of one piece of gold. So he threw the molten metal into the fire, and the shape sort of popped out all by itself miraculously. There we see again that same word zeh, where we've got this supernatural blueprint or way that something is formed. And we just read in last week's parsha, HaChodesh Hazeh, this new moon. Again, the concept of something where the derivation of the calendar is something that comes prophetically, rather than something that just is something that people figure out by themselves. When we have the Chatzi HaShekel, the money that each of the Jews is supposed to give, it says Zeh Yitnu Kol Haver Al Pkudim. This is what they're going to give, and again, the design of it and the amount of it and so on are things that are given with a heavenly example. And he brings forth many other cases where we're going to say the word zeh, and it's going to mean exactly the same thing. That there seems to be an example given. Either it's explained to us either midrashically, or it's explained to us by Rashi in an interpretation, or so on.
In those instances of zeh, are they also demarcated with a zakef gadol?
No. No, but here we're focusing on the fact that Noach is doing a task alone, and certainly he would have no one to help. So it really is important that he had this. Whereas later on, with all of the things for the Mishkan, certainly we've got all of the minds of the people of Israel able to work on it, and still you need zeh. And still you need a heavenly intervention to get it done in the correct way. But it perhaps is not as striking as what is needed here. Similarly with HaChodesh, you've got all of the Zakenim and all of the elders of the people of Israel. And again, they still need this divine intervention to be able to, quote unquote, see the true outcome of this, the way that this is supposed to be done.
And therefore, for example, when in LXB number 8 it says, Zakef Gadol is a king who systematically prepares his action from the foundation and turns with his full determination. So you're saying that in the other instances, they didn't necessarily have to build from the foundation in stages each step? Or just that there were many minds working and many hands?
So when he's talking from the foundation, I truly think he is talking about the musical qualities of this note. Vizeh. Building from Vizeh. You're building from a base, and then you're focusing yourself onto that word. So I don't think it necessarily is talking every time you have the word zeh. You're not necessarily talking about something that's being constructed, right? The calendar really isn't a physical construct. It's a mental construct. It's a concept.
But there they use the word, the Torah uses the word zeh, but it's not necessarily demarcated with a zakef gadol. So does that distinguish it as this is a de novo physical project that must be done in stages?
I think it's more related to what Noach needed, and more to the specific task where he is the only one who is really going to be doing this. So quite obviously he has no one to turn to. So if he has a question, how could he possibly have done it right, other than by having the divine inspiration of knowing what it was going to be at the end, by having some type of a vision of it.
Particularly.
So here it is, the most demonstrable way. There someone might have, in the Mishkan, someone might have thought of it. It would be less obvious that it had to be done by revelation. And yet we see the word zeh to tell us that it was done by revelation. Here it is so obvious and glaring that it has to stand out with a zakef gadol.
And that reinforces what you were saying in 614, the page before Tevat, and then Ta'aseh HaTeva. There's the munach there, which means it is something absolutely new that goes forward. It is de novo. He can't harness, let's say, pick out a few crates he had around and stick them together. He actually builds something completely new. So that supports this, what you're saying in this pasuk as well, that it is because it's de novo that he needs the divine guidance.
Well, that, and there's a great rabbi pointed out long ago, God, what's a cubit? later in the sentence.
Moving along. Number 2, asher. That has a mercha under it. Your doubts due to lack of knowledge and experience about how to construct a floating box will be replaced by inspiration that you will be given from heaven, as denoted by the directional shape of the reading mark. So a share is going to lead into what's going to happen after it. So that is going, and we'll perhaps come back to this after we've done the next word, because it's leading into it. Ta'aseh, you shall make. Number 3, you must get courage to make a start of the box, and while you will work on it, you shall make everything as required, as stressed by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So ta'aseh here has a tipcha, which is going to close off whatever had come from asher, and perhaps include the word zeh as well. It's going to include thoughts from